Today, I'm going to be sharing some traps, distortions, and energetic hang-ups that we can get stuck in that prevent us from entering into a divine union through partnership. And it might be a long one, so get a cup of coffee, light a candle, and get cozy. I'm also setting the intention for this to be a living transmission that helps to begin to illuminate truth for you, to release distortions, and bring clarity. Only if it is aligned with your highest good and in alignment with your soul at this time. That means you might receive nothing. You might receive something that helps you clear and see truth. This is going to delve into the relationship aspects and not the false beliefs or wounds in an individual that may keep you stuck or not receiving the partnership that you know you deserve and desire. So you may want to look at your inner healing, your inner network for those issues, those healings that you need, or layers of truth you need to uncover within yourself. So I've known for almost a year that union is a big area that my soul came here to work in as part of my mission, but not just through partnerships. So that's why I say divine union through partnerships. There are many ways divine union is calling for reunification, and union through partnership is just one of them. I will be talking more about divine union, desire, sexuality in a follow-up video explaining what the higher octave of divine union through partnership is, why I felt unqualified for this to be part of my path, but was actually early to these qualifications, and some juicy details about how this might express itself. But first, let's talk about what divine union through partnership is in simple terms that I have learned through my own channel, my own soul, and some traps, distortions, old understandings, and energetic hang-ups that you can get stuck in. So specifically, I'm talking about what you could think of as the new earth divine union template or the higher octave of divine union that is coming in now, or higher expression. And I will go into this in deeper depth in a follow-up video, but in simple terms, union is based on supporting two paths, your own and your partner's, and weaving them together in harmony, allowing them to merge and diverge at different points based on the subtle differences in your own resonance. To merge missions and amplify them eightfold, which is something from Walter Russell. My soul really wanted me to put that in there. It is allowing two to be one, but having the separate expression within that to make a complementary whole. It is not based on what the partner can give you, the security, the emotional support, even the companionship, although those can be a part of the partnership, but it's about finding that resonance with your heart, your mind, your body, and your whole being, while in human form, that allows you to merge with another in a way that still allows you to stand in your own embodiment and expression without attachment to the expression of how the union is, what you expect, at least by the old expectations. And some of these old understandings, hang-ups, are things that I have personally experienced myself. So I know how they can feel, and it can be brutal and destabilizing. But we're going to get into it. I'm going to talk about the bigger pieces first, and then some of the smaller beliefs that kind of can play into anything here that I'm mentioning. So the first hang-up trap is shadow partners or transition partners. I call them shadow partners not as a negative term, but as an understanding that they are not the fully illuminated partner that you could be experiencing. The shadow partner or transition partner can be a karmic agreement or a soul agreement for growth and understanding. They are the last partner before your divine union partner that may on the surface level be very similar to that next partner in looks and names and what they do for a living and surface level interest. They are a partner that is taking you through the mirroring through the growth and lessons that is preparing you for your next partner, so that you can meet that next partner in wholeness, in your true divine expression, to merge your past and mission and amplify them. So their purpose is to help you clear, release, and heal. But the lessons can sometimes feel like the ones you may expect to experience during true union, making it hard to let go because the what if plays in your head. But deep down, you most likely know when the relationship is finished. And sometimes it can be a lesson to see or to help you develop discernment between resonance and pattern and echoes and truth. The next one is past life romanticism, imprinting, and past life manipulation in some ways. So confusing the past lives that you remember having experiences with a soul as a partner in other lives and timelines to mean that you were fated or destined to be together in this life. Even if you've had multiple past lives, even if you've played out the twin flame templates before, you may not be here to play it out again, but to heal it, cut the cycle, and move beyond it to the higher expression of union, which may be with someone else. This can be hard because some of us, in the love we have for that soul, want to rectify the wounds and trauma we experienced in those lives, thinking, oh, maybe this life is when we get it right, when we get to have a happy union, or we just don't want to experience the pain of loss again. But this can keep you stuck in a relationship that is not at its highest expression, or deep down doesn't even resonate with you. And I think there's also maybe a perception that if you've had lots of past lives together and relationships, maybe you're at the same level of being, you've had the same number of lessons, and that you would naturally resonate together, which that's not true necessarily, because we all come here embodying different levels of our spirit's energy and light and aspects, and choose how to bring that through in this life. When you have a karmic contract with someone to resolve through partnership, the pull to them is going to feel very strong, especially if you've had multiple past lives with that energy, with that soul. And you may be confusing it. You may confuse it for an ultimate divine connection, such as a twin flame or another divine connection, when all connections are going to be different. And there is no ultimate romantic partner. There is and can be a highly expressed heart resonant partner, but that's different from an ultimate romantic partner. Their karmic partners feel this way. You feel so drawn to them, but so that you have the opportunity to heal and clear the karma. But you need to listen to your own knowing about when that changes and when the karma is cleared. And a karmic partner is not a destined partner. And sometimes the deepest love is expressed by walking away and ending a cycle, not continuing it. And you always have a choice in any of the partners that you choose to experience, you choose to support, you choose to work with. Now let's talk about energetic manipulation from fragmented consciousness. Fragmented consciousness occurs when individuals have unintegrated shadow aspects that are operating beneath their conscious awareness. The soul may be calling for union, but the fractured mind runs its own show, often rooted in attachment, trauma, or unmet validation wounds, and sometimes guilt. The subconscious override is where they feel guided toward a connection, but it's really an inner distortion dressed up as spiritual destiny. The subconscious override can also not be listening to what their soul actually wants and then trying to create what they actually want subconsciously when it doesn't reflect their physical reality. This can also result in energetic overreach, one partner pulling, initiating, or physically casting their desire or their energy for connection without checking for mutual sovereignty or readiness. And if you are energetically sensitive, You may experience this more on the energy level or on the psychic level with an unhealed partner or a toxic partner who may not be expressing this toxicity physically, but they are expressing it energetically. This can be very challenging because you may feel their energetic overreach. You may hear or see their projections that don't match what is in your physical reality, creating an environment that is very confusing and unstable. And they can also cast thought forms into your field about their subconscious desires that are influencing your choices and thoughts, as well as being influenced by their unintegrated shadow aspects. Okay, so now let's break down some of the distortions and false belief systems that can play in a role in the areas above, or just be a part of your own outdated belief system surrounding the dynamics of relationships. And I say outdated because the templates are changing. So this goes into all of the ones I mentioned before, but breaks it down a little bit more, which is false mirror or mirror loop confusions. So not necessarily from a past life, although there can be some resonance with this, but it is mistaking a trauma bond, a karmic loop, or attachment entanglement for a mirror, a sacred mirror. So this might look like when you meet someone with a lot of synchronicities, whether past life memories, similar childhood wounds, or emotional patterns, and you feel that intense connection. But you both keep triggering wounds without resolution or growth. You go through cycles of intense bliss and cycles of collapse. Progress in your life halts. And there's a constant attempt to fix and heal. And you feel an obligation to fix and heal each other. You start to bypass each other's red flags because you think that's what you're supposed to do in order to heal. So you're thinking that if this relationship activates all of your wounds, it must be sacred union. But you're not actually discerning whether those activations, whether those triggerings are leading to true healing or leading to liberation, or just repeating cycles. If it isn't liberating you, meaning if it isn't allowing you to stand more firmly in your own individual truth, some space may be needed in order to find that truth. Not that that relationship is over, but you don't need to be repeating constant cycles of triggering and healing that isn't integrating, and you may need to give it some time. True union reflects and mirrors your own power. It doesn't send you endlessly back into your own woundings. Sacred mirrors reveal and release, not re-traumatize. And then there's a myth that if it's hard, it must be sacred. There's a glamorization of struggle, chaos, or intensity as proof of twin flame or divine connection. So similarly to the mirror loops, you're misinterpreting high emotional highs and lows as depth, when it may just be energetic instability or immaturity or mutual trauma reenactment. And sacred union is not free from challenge, but it's always stable. Union isn't measured by drama, but by mutual growth, presence, and coherence. Another myth that thinking that it's magnetic means it's meant to be. I know we all love that magnetic feeling. That feeling intense chemistry or soul pull, and assuming that equals long-term union. Not all magnetism is meant to be merged with. Some people light up your field, or you feel drawn to them in order to catalyze healing or remembrance, not to walk beside you long-term. You have to learn to discern the type of magnetism. Some are here to awaken you, others to walk with you, and very few are both. And then there's a sacrificial union myth, believing that true love requires sacrifice of freedom, purpose, truth, or identity, or desire, in order to be worthy of divine partnership. So this pattern developed from religious martyr archetypes or past life vows, which can also get stuck energetically in your field and repeat, where giving up desire, voice, or sovereignty was seen as spiritual devotion. And some where sacrifice for a relationship with the divine was used as a tactic to control. diminish, and shame. If you want more information about my viewpoints about sacrifice and devotion, you can see my video on supplication, devotion, and resolution. Healthy divine union doesn't ask you to sacrifice your soul. It asks you to return to it. So some people mistake clearing their field, liberating their soul by releasing what's not aligned with them as sacrifice. So you release distortion, not your essence, not your soul's desire, not your soul's truth. You dissolve illusion, not identity. True partnership meets you at your fullness, not your fracture. And finally, we're going to talk about a bit of a sensitive topic, attachment to spirit babies. If you're energetically and multidimensionally attuned, you may feel or have met the spirit of your potential children. You may know their names, you may know what they look like at different ages, and you may have seen the resonant partner. People often assume, me included, the baby requires both parents in that specific dynamic, rather than understanding that soul contracts are fluid and spirit babies may be born through different configurations or even remain in the field as teachers. Thinking that you have to be in a certain partnership to bring in children that you've met spiritually can hook you into guilt, obligation, or spiritual performance. And this is especially true for women who feel responsible for bringing through that life force no matter the cost to their truth, or who remember not being able to bring them in other lives or timelines, or have other wounding around being a mother from other lives or timelines. The distortion is that the presence of a spirit baby can create the illusion that a relationship must continue even when it's no longer in integrity. And if you have to be at a certain resonance and harmonic in order to bring in that child, the soul contracts are going to reconfigure. So sometimes the presence and awareness of that spirit baby can become a tether that keeps someone in a relationship that has served its purpose. And these souls that we perceive are real, they are wise, but that doesn't mean that the current relationship that you're in must be maintained at the cost of your own growth, truth, or experience. And I have personally seen 2 spirit babies in my field. I've also had a fragmented partner project the idea of a spirit baby as a thought form. So a fragmented partner, especially one operating from unresolved trauma, spiritual bypassing, or egoic logging, can project the illusion of alignment for bringing in spirit babies. Let's all take a deep breath as we get to the end of the hangups and distortions. So where do you go from here if you've been questioning your relationship, if it's time to go, if you desire more, if you're healing together and growing together? Here are some questions to ask yourself in your relationship. Does this relationship bring me deeper into myself or cause me to abandon myself to stay connected? Am I progressing in my purpose and inner peace, or am I constantly trying to stabilize my external relationship? And am I willing to see the truth, even if it means letting go of a fantasy union? And if you ask yourself those questions and you're still struggling, find a quiet place with some separation from your partner. Take care of your energetic hygiene, clear, release, restore, and connect deeply with your body and find your center. This may look like meditation, it may look like dance, it may look like art, or some other form. And ask yourself, as you connect deeply with your body, placing deep awareness on your heart and body, how does this relationship make me feel? In my heart, listen for the answer. Then ask, how does this relationship make me feel? In my body, allowing the emotion to come up. How does this relationship make me feel in my mind? And if any of it feels off, listen to that. It may just need further reflection further truth seeking, or could be a sign that something more is going on. And if this reflection stirred something within you, maybe a truth, maybe a hidden distortion, or maybe a more honest desire of what you want is stirring, I invite you again to breathe into your heart as a beginning, so that clarity can dissolve your confusion, so that sovereignty can unbind illusion, and may your soul guide you back into the rhythm of your true union within yourself and externally. And so be it. If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Like I said, I'll follow up more about what divine union is in another video, and I'll see you next time.